In this video, I go over my very specific method for how I'm able to every single week generate over a month's worth of content in under 60 minutes. I do this every single week for a lot of my students inside my program. We actually sit with dozens of them individually all the time, and I teach this exact process, and all of them after a couple of sessions are able to systematically create 30 plus days of content in under an hour each week that actually converts and turns actual audience members into customers. It's able to nurture them, it's able to convert them, and they're able to make money. If this is something that you really enjoy, I intend for this to be one part of a larger puzzle. If you watch some of the other videos on my channel, we're actually giving away information that outside of this free YouTube channel, you would have to pay upwards of $10,000 for. I know, because we have paid that much money and frankly charged that much money for all of this information before. So what I would do if I were you, I intend for you to be on this journey with me. I intend for you to want to smash that subscribe button so that you're here every week as we put out a new training absolutely free to you, and potentially want to go further in this relationship together. So if you want to get some free information from a person who has developed 2 separate 7-figure companies and you want to get it for free instead of paying other people tens of thousands of dollars, smash that subscribe button and then dive in. So let's get into it. This video is how to make 30 days worth of content in under 60 minutes. Let's dive in. I think that learning how to do content in a structured and quick, efficient way is something that would be helpful for you. Entire month's worth of content in less than an hour.
So you can take a long piece of content, like a long video like we're doing right now. It'll show you how easy it is to convert it to a blog, take little bits of chunks of pieces of it and make small videos that you can disseminate all over your social media. There's 2 ways to do it: manual and automated. Manual just means we post something, copy and paste it to other profiles. So if you have LinkedIn, Facebook, a page, Instagram, etc., TikTok, you can copy paste it. Automated means you're using a tool like Tumblr or Hootsuite, and that allows you to automate to certain pages, not profiles, but a lot of different platforms. We do a lot of copying and pasting just because the algorithm plays a little bit more friendly when you copy and paste.
So I'm going to show you guys a few different things. Okay. One of those concepts is going to be revolving around the types of content we do. So there's 2 main types, and I'm going to show you a couple of worksheets that go along with that in just a second. What those worksheets show you is 2 different types of content. One is called teach them how to think content. The other is called conversion content. So I want to first just take a minute and kind of go over this. These are my 2 core pillars of content that we talk about all the time. So conversion type content, purpose. What is it for? It's for getting people to raise their hand and ask you to start a conversation with them. Right? This is when we're talking about, okay, we want to transition. A lot of this kind of stuff is, how do I transition this from barely knowing each other to an intimate space? That intimate space being their messenger inbox, right? That intimate space being a conversation in that spot. Okay. So what I want you guys to think of is, how do I get that to happen? Well, that's where conversion-based content comes into place. It's getting them to raise their hand and ask you to do it, or it's getting them to DM you directly and do it that way. Post types that we're usually talking about in here, we're talking about our 2 steps. We're talking about our launch posts. We're talking about our mission posts. We're talking about our engagement questions. All kinds of stuff in here that can elicit response from people, elicit the need for people to come in and actually get that done. Okay. Now the next thing, right, that we want to talk about here is, well, how do we set that up? And this is going to dive deep. So assets needed. And what I mean by assets needed, how do I make this fast? Right? Today is all about how do I efficiently churn out content? Because I want to stop for a second right here. Let's have a moment here. Let's be honest with one another. I'm always talking to you guys about being honest with one another, right? Who flinches or gets a headache or just gets super stressed out at the thought of sitting down and having to write content? everybody, yeah, in the Zoom chat here, raise your hand. If you're out there in Facebook land, put something in the, and be honest, guys, right? We're talking to one, like Tiki said me, Robert said one, Rick said one, right? It's a lot of people, man, a lot of it. Content isn't my strong suit. Look, content wasn't my strong suit, but now I can sit there and churn it out. Mostly because of process, a lot of practice. But once I have a process in place, right? Once I can just make that happen, it's a lot easier. So hopefully this is making a little bit of sense. We're going to dive into the process now a little bit more, but to make this easy, right? To get away from that headache, what we need is to understand, cool, well, how do I piece this together? Well, for this one, it's going to be scary offer. It's going to be process, like the process you use for your offer, process and assets. And then the third part is going to be your result. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second, once we dive into actually writing it out. Over here, next, we teach them how to think. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is right in the title. We're trying to teach people how to think differently about the common objections. So we're teaching people how to think differently about common objections. Okay? Common objections. And we're also teaching people how to think differently about their common mindset issues. You're going to run into people consistently who have the same kind of issues going on. You're going to run into the same kind of stuff all the time, right? Where you're going to be like, I just need to sign one more client, right? Before I can go out and make this happen. I just need to do this one more thing. I got to talk to my partner. I got to talk to my wife, right? This month just isn't going to be the best month. But I promise that this sounds like a great idea. I'm going to do it next month, right? These are common objections you're going to run into, or you're going to run into the situation where a lot of your clients or prospects are broke, right? And you're just coming around it. It's like, okay, well, all of my prospects are broke. Everybody's broke all the time. What that often comes down to is, money scarcity, right? Or an expense versus investment mindset, right? So these are things we can tackle with this type of content. We're trying to teach them how to think differently. Teach our prospects to think differently about mindset, issues, common objections, and lastly, us. This allows us to preemptively create a frictionless sales process, right? Because if they see the same message over and over again, and we can actually teach them to think differently, they're going to come to your call ready to rock if you've done this correctly, right? So then we get post types here. Okay, we get story posts. This is either going to be your story or your clients. You're going to see metaphor posts. You're going to see document, don't create. And you're going to see value posts. Right? Now, these ones can be even more daunting. How do I write a value post? How do I write a long form story post? How do I even come up with a metaphor, right, to make this work? And so everything here starts to become, okay, stressful, right? But again, we can break it out into a process, and I'll show you guys how. Right? And so for this, what we want is assets. We want to list common objections I'm facing, right? We want to list common mindset issues. We want to come up with 2 or 3 stories that we can use. We want to come up with 2 or 3 metaphors, right? This first part can be a little bit time consuming, but once you have these, you can really, really, really start to cycle through. Then you want to list of common pain points. Right? And this one specifically results in the value posts. Okay. So hopefully already, even before we start to dive into how am I going to do this, how am I going to use this, it's already starting to come a little bit clearer. When you organize your shit, it becomes easier to make a bunch of content, right? And I'm going to show you how in just a minute, but I want you guys to really just kind of digest this, because this is already, we've got a framework right here for how to create just a shit ton of content, because we know what are we using the content for. So we know what that's going to be about. We know assets that we can use to create post types. right? And soon we're going to go through what these post types actually look like so that you can see what each individual one is for. But it's good for you to see what the structure and everything is on the outset. Cool. Good thing she said that, because I'm about to take this off. So if you want to digest it for a couple more seconds, do so. It's about to go away because we're going to make some shit happen. So
I help other women entrepreneurs with ADHD use automated systems to scale their business to 6+ figures.
all right, so that's a scary offer right there. This is a lower offer that you get underneath of that. That's fine. What's your process for it? Do you need done for you coaching? How do you get them to that? What's the assets that you use, the process that you use, that kind of stuff?
The process that I use inside the live workshop, because the $99 is for a live workshop.
Process that you do for this. This is going to be like a downsell. Okay, so I'm going to delete it, but this is what I want you to view this as, right? We've talked about this, right? So
oh no, I have it. So I'm just pulling it up so I can read it to you.
And stuff is going to be up here. So like all the stuff you're talking about is going to be for this. It's just that that other thing is going to be your base camp down here that you can catch all, right?
Yep.
So you want to be talking about the bigger end results that attracts more conversations.
So the system is focus, find, organize, create, unclutter, and scale. We help you find and identify all your time wasting, focus sucking tasks in your business.
Okay, so
we help you
audit their life.
You want me to just send it to you?
No, just tell me. It's your shit. I don't want to look at it. I want you to tell me. So I'm just going to simplify the words you're saying. All of that basically tells me you're going to audit their life, which means you're going to find where they are disorganized, right? Then you're going to help them organize.
Yep, we're going to help them prioritize. So basically they're creating a list of tasks that they do on repetition, or things that they're copying and pasting, and the things that they're doing repetitively over and over and over and over again. And for us in this space, we know that if you're doing something multiple times a day, we can automate that shit. There's no reason for you to do the same task 100 times. So we find the tasks, we organize the tasks into a list, and we prioritize them by seniority of how much time we can give you back with an automation. We create a flow chart that outlines the business flow chart behind the scenes of how all of the different technologies or automation tools will help be put together like a map. And then the unclutter part is it's building. That's when we build the integration and we put the processes and systems in place to automate that whole behind the scenes structure. And then last is scale. And that's it. You did it. You've got everything automated. Now it's time to, that's kind of when they're ready to jump into all of the marketing and kind of start scaling.
Perfect. What's the biggest result you've ever gotten for a client that you could say?
Well, it wasn't for a client, but it was for when I was working in corporate America. We built, I said, me and my team built a $4 million lead funnel off of MailChimp and Airtable because the company refused to give us a budget or any money, and we built it for free. And once we started pumping leads through it, they ran it that way for about 2 years before I said, you guys really need to move this to an enterprise level system before it explodes.
When you say you built it for free, you mean it had no cost to them, or it
had no cost to them whatsoever. We set up a free MailChimp account and a free Airtable basic structured CRM. Like I just built it, and then we had it automated from MailChimp into Airtable.
Cool.
And it didn't start costing us money until obviously when you get to the threshold of 2,500 people, then we started paying money out to MailChimp, but Airtable remained free for 2 years.
Okay, cool.
We didn't use anything. We just used it as a database to dump things in.
Perfect. So this is all we need right here. Okay. So from this, what we just did was we found the assets we talked about a second ago, right? So scary offer, process, and assets. And you can start to see where I'm going with this. Well, even without cheat sheets and all this other shit, you can create it. You can look at this. You can say, look at all these different pieces of this, where it's going. Scary offer and a result that we can pull from, right? So one thing that I'm telling you guys about, I think I told you guys about this privately in the VIP chat. What we're trying to do with a lot of the conversion content, right, is if we can stick to the scary offer formula, that I'm always telling you guys about, right? In the content, it tends to do well. And this piece was a 2-step that did well primarily because it stuck to the scary offer formula, right? So what is the scary offer formula? Big end result, 10 new clients. Customer language, well, this is talking to agencies. So 10 new clients, Facebook ads, agency clients, all that stuff. We want to have specificity, right? So 10 in 3 weeks, 100%, right? Cool. And we want to have risk reversal. Well, it's fucking free. So definitely risk reversal there, right? So doing that allows us to have stuff like that goes off for like 800 comments or so, right? And we can make that happen. So when we're doing this stuff, we'll start with some 2-steps, right? So I just want to show you how quickly we can do this. We can just pull from stuff. So like the very first one here, I can see on here, it's like, cool, let's pull from the result. So this is risk reversal because we're going to show it to them for free. $4 million is the big end result. $4 million, $0, that's specificity, right? Customer language, we might want to tweak this a little bit, but this is getting to that point, right? And that's just pulling from the result. 2, we could say something like, I'm going to bring this up a little bit, running out of room. Now you can turn this 1 basically into 2, because you can say, cool, I got enough interest. All right, we're going to do this tomorrow. If anybody wants to be tagged in the live, right? Show up, tag it live. So what I'm going to be doing with this, guys, because we're running out of room on this, I'm going to be dropping these post types as I write them. I'm going to do a screenshot of just this. And then as I write these post types, I'm going to drop them in the comments or in the chat and then delete them. But the only screenshot I'm going to do is of this main one. All these other posts that I write and stuff, I'm just going to keep dumping in the chat until I do a new screen. We'll keep going, right? So all I did right there was I pulled from this and I pulled from this. Cool. All right. Now,
thank you.
We create. So again, I'm just like you do all of these audits all of this time. I'm sure you've got to streamline to the point where
probably the stats are 8 hours a week. It's on average 80% of all business owners waste 8 to 10 hours a week on repetitive tasks.
Just what you just said out loud is a post, right? So there's 2 more, right? Like on average, literally, if you the way that you said that is how you say that. On average, 90% of business owners waste 8 to 10 hours every single freaking week doing these 3 tasks that we can help you automate. Want to know what they are? Right?
Yep.
It's easy. I do. You already got my attention. I'm like, okay, yeah, tell me what am I doing? What am I doing to waste 10 hours a week? I want to know. I'd comment on it. Right? So already right there, we took like 2 or 3, 4 minutes and we've written 4 posts, right? And so it's right here, list of tasks I do and increase their circle of focus. We do this simple exercise. Right? And again, this one can be turned into 2 because you go, as soon as they say, yes, I'm interested, cool. Now you go live and you do it again, right?
Yeah.
What else?
We'll have some more really good stats too. I just can't share them yet. We have a local chiropractor that we actually work with, and we've already grown their very top funnel, like their newsletter. And again, anybody who's been doing this for a while knows that local email lists are pretty small, and they have no desire to like franchise or go bigger or anything. They're going to stay local, and we've grown their email list to over 7,000 people in 2 months. Just from content, like organic content related stuff. So now we're starting to push in the value ladder. And I think that we're going to have some really incredible results as far as automation is going, because we completely automated the entire back of the house. So it's going to be really cool. I'm excited.
All right, there you just wrote another.
Yep.
Listening to yourself talk is able to create just endless amounts of stuff. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to stop right here for a second. I want to just point out, does everybody see what we're doing? Right. We're using results, we're using assets, we're using offers, and we're just rotating through all of this shit. And so right there, we just did basically a whole week of content in 10, 15 minutes, maybe done. Right. And so I could do a whole next week of content now that process is already written out in another 5 minutes. Just pound out all these 2 steps. Now, do you want to do nothing but 2 steps? Obviously not. So before anybody out there is in the comments going, well, you're just fucking asking for shit every day. No, man, obviously that's not the case. But the point is you can endlessly create these. If you want to do 2 or 3 2-steps a week, which really is what you should be doing, right?
Yeah.
2 or 3 of these a week to be putting different messages out in front of people. If you sit down like we just sat down and you just create 20 of them in like a half an hour, you just rotate through this shit until you find stuff that works. Now you've got the whole month's worth of that type of content done. So instead of sitting here wondering like every day you're like, what do I write today? You sit down and you do this shit in a batch, right? And you get it completed. Now there's 2 more types.
Yeah, we're doing like 80-20. So like 80% is non-sales and 20% is sales. And that's just for us. And maybe that worked for everybody. But we don't put a call to action, like a direct call to action where we're expecting somebody to give us money a lot. We do a lot. We do push the newsletter more because that's free and that's our entry level into, into the kind of our world. And then we start promoting after that. But I totally
but you got to ask, right? I tell people all the time, want to make more money, ask for more sales, make more offers. And that's what all of these different kind of 2-steps and stuff is, making different variations of offers. The other good thing about 2-steps is that if one bombs, you just don't give a shit and you go on and make the next one. Right. Mm-hmm. So you get to find out. We personally, in our companies, both of them, we track what posts are doing well. We have a top post sheet. I've shown it to you guys in the VIP, I think a couple of times. How many comments did it get? How many likes did it get? And we just go back and we use that. Every now and then we'll do a big batch of new ones, and a lot of them will bomb. But some of them, like the one that's pinned on my page right now, will go off for like 800 comments. Cool, that's going on the top post list. I'll use that again next year. I got one that we reactivated this morning. It's got a couple hundred comments on it that some of you guys are commenting on, and that's the same kind of thing. And so you start to learn, okay, this messaging is resonating. This messaging is resonating. We start to move in that direction. The next one,
real quick. Who knows what reactivating a comment is? All you do is go to one of your trending posts, go comment back on it, go have a family member, go have a friend. All they have to do is re-comment, and it could be a year old, it could be a month old, it could be a week old. But once it starts losing that juice, you just re-comment on it, and then it'll be as if you just posted it. And then it'll reactivate that same 2-step magnet that started your conversation. So you don't have to go from the top of the dome. You now know what's trending, what works, what the market wants. Just reactivate it. And then you can spin off like little pieces of content off of that one as well. Yeah, you can tag people in it. Every post we do, notice how everybody gets tagged, and it's especially in our groups, most notably in our groups. We use these as assets. Hey, you don't know me, I don't know you. You jumped into our group. We just met. You need help with content. Check this thing out. Tag, and then we warm them up. And then if they like us, then we'll say, hey, we can help you further. Do you want to get there faster, or do you want to get there slower? Right. So we just have that path. We have to provide ample amounts of value, and we're like, we do our best to, and we give it away for free. And then the people who want to come on the Diamond Club, like when we cut the stream, you guys get our time, even if it's just $7. And then our ascension model is we have higher packages, and those people get us 7 calls live on Zooms every single week. So you can do the same thing. So that's kind of like how we do things. It's like there's the free stuff, there's the low ticket stuff, there's the access to us stuff, then there's higher levels depending on the needs, and there's situations of where they are. We do our best to build products based on where people are, so we can have a broader marketplace as we zone in on who's going further. And every product we have is like college. It's like, all right, start here because this is the most successful plan for you. After we're done here, then we're going to get to a certain level of success. Then we're going to move up. It's my recommendation. Do you trust my recommendation? So that's how we operate. And that's how this content helps us every single day. And if we stop today, we have enough to retag. Like the stuff we do is highly, highly evergreen. The only time it's ever going to change is if the metaverse actually works. Right? That's the only time we're going to be changing stuff.
Let's hop back over here. So I want to show you guys one more thing. Look, mission posts. Now, we taught too many people the mission posts, and other people taught too many people the mission posts and all that shit. I say this all the time. So we do not actually say it's my mission anymore, because it just, doesn't work and everybody gets it. So we actually take your scary offer though, and we put it in a different way. So it's, I'm going to help. And then we want to put some number of people, and we always want to put the word more. Why? Because it shows that others have signed up. Yep, exactly. It's implying that you've done it before. The implication is that this is not a new thing you're doing. This is something you've done before. And if you want to be the next person that gets it, you get to do it at that point. It's going to help 7 more women entrepreneurs with ADHD. I'm going to say scale their audiences beyond 6 figures. And we're just going to say in the next 90 days, change this to whatever your normal program would be so that you're not lying. You got to make your own numbers, right? And you say want to be one of them. Or you could change it to want to be one of the winners, want to join us, want to join the winning team, want to come along, right? Whatever you want to say for your finishing point that matches your voice. You guys will notice a lot out there, right? When I talk, I talk in a more abrasive kind of way is how I'll put it, right? But I'm okay with that. People can handle that well. I attract the people that can handle that kind of communication. I attract the type of people that are okay with that and are going to take that well and move along with the string. You guys talk in the way you talk. If you want to have a softer language point because that's your people and your type of thing, obviously do that. This type of post you're going to want to do maybe once a month. Right. So this is a one-off a month post. It's really like Megan was saying, like, this is where we're asking them for money. Like, this is like, hey, do you want to join the shit and pay for the offer? Let's talk. Right. Makes it a little bit more of a one-off situation. Then we have our questions, big, bold questions, engagement questions, etc., where we are going to elicit some engagement. Right. So we're going to sit here in this situation and we're going to elicit some engagement. So I like to do a couple of things. One that I really harp on a lot is the have you given up? Because people don't like to say they've given up, right? People will engage on that usually no matter what. And they'll say, hell no, right? And so in this situation, right, it's are you still trying to organize your life, or have you your life and business, or have you completely if you're still in the fight, let me know in the comments. Got something special for you. That's one. Another one for you too. Right. Who on my friends list has ADHD, but is still kicking ass, making their business, right? Something like this. Now you could say at the bottom, like, if that's you, I got something to help even further. But if you don't even want to put a CTA, this kind of shit will just get engagement. Anybody who got ADHD, like, I'm doing it. I mean, if they really got ADHD, they might comment 50 times. You don't know. You get them into the right zone. Maybe they'll comment a whole bunch. You get a bunch of engagement, right? But you're just trying to push on these points, right? And so it's on this one.
We do a lot of stuff that, I mean, I'm putting myself out there more with, I've been doing automated systems for a while, but this is the first year that I've really exposed myself, like, and admitted to the world, like, I have ADHD. This is what's happening. Like, I'm successful. You can be too, you know, and really kind of exposed my backstory. So now my team is just loving it. And they want me, my face in video, like all over the place. Cause they're like, where you have to show your scatterbrain to the world. I'm like, no, we don't. Good. Like, let's use it.
I mean, but it is though. And they're right.
I know.
mean, there's two sides of the coin. When you're an entrepreneur at the level that a lot of you guys are at, the personal brand is more powerful than a name brand. It just is. And to be the face, you know, does that come back to potentially bite you in the ass later on? Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, exactly.
But in the initial stages, all the way to like 1 to 4 or 500K a month, honestly, it's better to be a personal brand than it is the other way around. You can eventually flip that around, but all right, if you had a magic pill that could solve one single issue in your business, what would you use it on? This is a generic one, right? This is one that you've probably seen before, but it works. The reason you've seen other people use it is because, yeah, it works, right? More specific to you, right? You say, what is the single most disorganized part of life?
Of your brain.
Well, if you say brain, right? And this is where you can just leave it at here. You say, be honest, winky face. Mine's probably worse than yours.
Yeah.
Probably worse than yours. Check it out in the comments, right? So that this is where you're like, I'm being real too. And I'm also being engaged with you. And I'm going through this, and just show people that you're real. I think one of the reasons me and Rahul get away with being, for lack of a better word, kind of assholes, but not assholes, abrasive sometimes, is because we're actually just being real. We're being ourselves. We show up and we're just over it. Like the bullshit and everything else. We're past that now. Now we're just playing around. We're having fun and we're teaching people, right? And I think that comes through. And I think that a lot of you guys, if you can use your personality a little bit more, is it going to shoo some people off? Yes. But you know what? It's the internet, and you can't say anything to anybody, even when you're trying to be nice, without pissing somebody off. So you might as well just be yourself.
And those are the people we don't like. I personally don't want to work with anyway. Like I swear a lot. I am like totally scatterbrained and all over the place. And sometimes when you get me on certain soapboxes, I talk like a million miles an hour, and so then people get, and those people aren't going to work with me, and that's fine.
To be transparent, I have a little bit of ADHD, and Rahul tells me all the time to, like, bro, calm down.
Breathe.
Breathe. If you've talked nonstop for 3 hours and you've given them everything they need to succeed, you're supposed to slow down. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Thank you. I approve of your feedback, but I'm not going to do that. So look, what did we do? We wrote 4 more posts. All right.
This is awesome. Thank you so much. This is really cool.
Right. So, I mean, what have we just written, like, all together 4, 6, 11, like 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 posts. And then Raul dropped in some like alternatives. I put in my document, alternative questions and stuff like that. So
honestly,
it's really cool.
Let's switch gears over and do a couple of teach them how to think posts. I'm not done. Let's keep going. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the reins on this one. Megan, and you can stay unmuted if you want. All of you guys can unmute at any point you want, but I'm gonna just show you guys through a couple of things on this, because it's gonna be some longer form stuff and just give you an idea. So cool. Teach them how to think posts. All right. So what we would have normally on here, right? Mindset issues. Usually I'm gonna do some normal ones that you guys are all gonna run into.
Yeah.
Money, scarcity, right? Expense versus investment, right? Always trying to be perfect. Stop them.
Are you still using my avatar, or are you using just in general?
I'm just going to do a general one on this one.
Okay. So I was just going to say that, like, specifically, if you're looking at my avatar, like, especially money, anytime anybody thinks technologies or systems or processes, they automatically think it's expensive. Mm-hmm. It's not. Like, it doesn't have to be. We all know this, but like, it doesn't have to be expensive. So I talk a lot about that, because I don't want people to be afraid that they can't afford to get started.
100%. No audience.
Do something about the tools that you use if you're just getting started. Just make so it's cheap. Because like if I have a brand new agency owner that joins in, I'll just be like, dude, forget tech, just use free Calendly. That's all you need. That's your landing page. It's very simple. It's free. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, all you have is your Facebook profile. That's your website. If you want to buy a domain name, saying like joinmegan.com, and it goes to your Facebook profile or a page on your Facebook, like an album or something for a portfolio or whatever you want, you just use the simple tools that we have as we grow. And then as we grow, then you realize, hey, now I'm adaptive to the simple things that I'm already commonly using. Then I can scale up to the next level and have a paid program, like you mentioned, Airtable and some other tool before.
I did
MailChimp, right?
Well, that one was MailChimp. Yeah. So I did a 15-minute video and showed my weekly newsletter people. And now it has over 50,000 views across all my different channels. It was just a 15-minute video of how to build like a 1-page card.co website with a form and link it to Airtable. It took 15 minutes to show them how to do it. So it's like, the stuff is like, it can happen. Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm putting out in my weekly newsletter. So that's the free content these people are getting. So I'm hoping that I'm showing the value. Like, if I'm giving you all of this kind of stuff for free, imagine what you're going to get when you pay to work with my team.
And so what I'm going to show you guys here, I want to actually just show you a couple of ones that I've already written. I'm going to show you the metaphors. Okay, but I'm not gonna leave it because I can't write. I don't have enough room. But two people in a race, right? And two people go to the gym. These are two metaphors I use consistently. And one thing that I want to point out to you guys is not just in the content, but on sales calls. And it's not the purpose of this today to talk about that. So I'm not going to dive into it too much. But I use these specific metaphors that I use in these story posts often. I use them on sales calls to handle objections live on the sales calls. So that's when you can find one that works to actually close a deal. It will also work to just start saying it out loud, or not out loud, obviously, unwritten word on the page. So this one specifically, I posted this year. I posted this a couple more times, right? Two people starting a race, okay? One guy looks around at the track, trying to figure out the perfect way to start the race. Ignore this cool dude looking picture and read the words over here. That's what we're trying to do, okay? Now, the perfect lane to run, how long to sprint versus save for the finish. Or you can be the other guy, the guy beside him who puts his head down and just starts the race. That person almost always falls on their face. But guess what? The other person sees that and still doesn't get off the starting line. They think, how can I avoid that? How can I run the perfect race? And while they continue to be stuck, the other racer just gets up, he gets shit done, he brushes it off, and he goes forward. One of those people becomes a success by taking imperfect action. And the other guy let trying to be perfect stop them from being great. You're the one I posted this in January because it's the perfect thing for the beginning of the year. You're the one on the starting line for 2022 right now. Which one are you going to be this year? And I've posted this a few more times throughout the year. So that's what I'm trying to say with a metaphor. What's a metaphor? It's referencing a story that people can relate to and then theming it back into what we want them to know. The other metaphor that I consistently use is two people going to a gym. All right, so these two people, they go to a gym. They have the exact same equipment. They go for the same amount of time. They have the same commitment level, same energy. They even eat the same shit. One of them, though, comes out at the end with the body of their dreams, kicking ass, looking fantastic. And the other one hasn't done shit. Looks exactly the same. When I ask people the difference, they're always trying to come up with shit. Well, one guy just had more of it in him. One guy was just meant to do it. Guy's eating better. Guy felt a little better. He's doing it right. No, the answer is one of them had a secret weapon. He had a coach. He had a personal trainer showing him how to use those tools. See, two people can use the exact same tools and same strategies, and one of them can have success and the other one can fail miserably. And even if the one that failed had more talent, more potential, the other person had somebody who already knew what the fuck they were doing, showing them what to do. How many times have you guys gone to a gym and you've seen a guy wander from chest to legs to whatever the hell, go to the treadmill, looking around at his phone, and really accomplishing nothing? Did he get tired by the end of it? Maybe. Did he wake up sore tomorrow? Possibly. Is he going to actually achieve anything beyond basic ass shit? No. Because he doesn't have somebody showing him insight on how to do it. So I use that a lot on posts and stories and lives and all of this stuff specifically to get the theme across that the reason you're still stuck is because you don't have a coach that shows up, gives a fuck, and actually gives you insight on what to do, right? See how these stories are teaching you, even while you're listening to me right now, probably how to think differently. I mean, right now, it's not fair because I get to use tonality and all of that kind of stuff to really emphasize different parts of it. But in the written word too, right? You'll notice I'm often using hyperbolic language. I'm capitalizing shit. I'm using bold shit. Like I tell students in the GSD all the time, I hope you guys don't think that I'm just like writing this as if I'm randomly shouting words. Like, exactly. Oh, and then we're going down. No, it's when you're reading content, right? The same way as when you're listening to me right now, right? I can raise my voice and you're all going to listen. And then if I lower it back down to a little bit like this, you're going to pay the fuck attention to the next words that are coming out of my mouth. Same kind of shit with the written word. You have to understand, how are people reading that, right? The words I'm emphasizing are the words I want you to read, because that's how the brain works now. You're going to skim it. You're going to see something that stands out, and then you're going to decide to read the rest of it or not. And so when I'm emphasizing words like guaranteed, free, exactly, just like this, stupid, simple, money, million, right? Those are words that are supposed to grab your eyeballs and say, oh shit, I should go back up and maybe read the rest of the fucking post. right? And it's understanding when I'm doing that, why I'm doing that, all that kind of shit that's going to make a huge difference. So all of that is to show you a couple of these metaphor style posts. I think we're already at an hour. So I've already shown you guys how to write basically endless amounts of content, but I want to show you how easy it can be with a long form post too. So we're going to not do the metaphor. Let's just do a couple of document posts. These ones are stupid easy. You guys see me doing this all the time, right? So these ones are real easy. So we'll say what just happened. I'm going to document, why don't we document Rob's journey? I'm going to do it live because Rob just posted it. Okay, cool. Just launched the VIP and already have students closing 6K plus, feels literally 1 week in, pretty pumped for Rob, couldn't happen. There's a post. And you know what that post does? It does one thing that I fucking emphasize the shit out of that we don't do enough of because there's just not enough time in a day to post all this shit, is celebrate our fucking students. Number one, because Rob's going to like that. If I post about him publicly and I tag him in it, he wants people to celebrate his fucking success. Of course he does. He wants to be a part of the family. That's what we're trying to do here. And two, it teaches people who might be out there thinking about, who is this asshole constantly yelling at me on the screen and doing all these posts? What matters about this guy, right? It gets you to think differently about what we're doing because people are having success. People are winning, right? So you're not winning because you're not taking it. You chose Starbucks over this today, right? Over that 6K potential deal. So that's on you. So now I got to teach people to think differently about that, right? One win, 3 posts, whole week worth of content. You can do a couple more things. Hey, want the replay? Just did the interview. Want the replay? Boom, there's 4 posts. That's a whole week of content almost off of just that one thing, right? That makes sense, guys? So let's finish up with a value post. So value posts. What am I trying to do with a value post? Well, I'm trying to do a hook, value, theme. Okay. Hook is the most important part. You'll notice in all the content that I write, hook is going to be the thing that matters the most. So with the value post, what we're trying to do is we're trying to address pain point. Because if we can solve, I'm not just trying to say, here's the 3 tips to being an awesome Facebook media buyer. Here's the cool shit you can fucking do. No, I'm trying to think, what are the pain points my audiences have that I can uniquely solve? And if I can actually do that via text, then they're going to be like, oh shit, why don't I buy from this guy? Obviously, he can solve the problem that I couldn't figure out. Right. So this pain point, address the pain point. So for this one, let's just stick with whatever we put up there. We'll say no audience. You know what? I wrote a post on this like just the other day. So I'm just, I'll just rewrite it. The whole point is to make it rewrite it. So how we took from 0 friends to 6 figures in 120 days. Here's how we did it, right? Hook. If you're not good at writing hooks, and I understand a lot of you guys aren't, maybe we'll do one of these trainings on hooks. It's a whole call doing hooks. I know it seems easy, but honestly, guys, when I write long form posts, and I say this about emails and everything else too, I will just brain dump 10 to 20 hooks normally, and then I can just start making the rest of it because I can just verbal vomit from the hook. But the hook is all that really matters, to be honest, for whether you're going to get it read, whether you're going to have people sign up, all that kind of shit. So then the value comes into play. I gotta really find some more space here. So hook, how we took our student from 0 friends to 6-figure months, 120 days. Here's how we did it. When X came to us, they just would not So what we do here is hook. We took our student from 0 friends to 6-figure months in 120 days. Here's how we did it. Now, when we'll call him Cody, when Cody came to us, they just would not pull the trigger. They understood the value, but they had no audience. Okay, well, we convinced them. It didn't matter. Just start posting, start building, and eventually your inputs will always equal the outputs you're trying to find. So we did it And following our GSD daily task list, look, it's what I call the fuel for your engine. We were able to hit a 6-figure month in literally 120 days. And this shocked emoji, this guy. Oh, shit, right? Here's the task list we had him do every single day. And if you guys haven't seen that task list, we'll go over it. It's an 8-step task list. You do it every day. I'm not going to repeat all 8 of them right now, but you would put that right there. Then at the bottom of that, you're going to say, doing this every day, emphasizing every day is the actually important thing. Because in the beginning, he was talking to himself. Did that stress him out? Yes, but he had us beside him, pushing him up the hill all along the way. And the consistency and momentum he was able to build up is what took us from 0 friends and 0 audience to literally a 6-figure month in 120 days. A lot of you guys, and then now at this point, this is what we're talking about, theme, right? So that got to the value. And then there's a theme. The theme is always hooking it back into other people that are there with you. So you always say at this point, a lot of you guys are just like he was, stuck at the first step, refusing to actually invest in yourself and go do the next thing because you think you don't have the audience. You think nobody gives a shit. And maybe you're right. Right now, you don't have the audience. And guess what? Nobody gives a shit. But that's exactly why this is the perfect time. This is the right moment for you to get off the starting line and do it. Because while nobody gives a shit, you can fuck up. While nobody gives a shit, you can learn. And you're going to build that audience and start that momentum. And the only way to get to where you can make that kind of money by having this kind of process is to get started today. And I would leave it right there. Because you're not trying to put a CTA at the bottom of that. You're trying to teach them how to think differently. We're going to wrap this part up, guys. That's going to be the end of the training today. We wrote about 20 different posts here, and it's hit an hour. So I was 10 off, but we did some time for the research. Promise you guys, if you take the different steps I did for the long form content and for the short form content, right, you'll be able to easily do what we just did in an hour, which is create a whole month's worth of content. And next month, it'll be even quicker. Thank you so much for spending the time to watch that amazing training. Like I mentioned previously, my intention is for you not just to watch that training, but if you got something out of it, if you think this information is useful, I want you to continue that journey with us. And you can do that in a couple of ways. One, I want you to smash that subscribe button so that you get notified every single time we put another one of these out, which will be at minimum once to twice per week. The other thing I want you to do is go ahead and click that next video right there beside you so that you can dive in and get shit done. Hope to see you out there.